Welcome to Bulldog Talk, a podcast presented by Salina Curriculum.
All right, well, I'm here with Rudrud, who is our opening day speaker here at Salina Schools, and we're really excited to get the year kicked off, but we definitely wanted to share with the school community a little bit more about Ben, and also hopefully some work that he's doing with us in the future. So hopefully you enjoy this.
Thank you so much, Vaughn, for having me. I'm filled with some pretty good vibes right now. I just got to meet your staff, and ever since I got here this morning, I just have to tell you, it's been nothing but positives, and I feel so welcome. Ohio's amazing, so thank you for having me.
Not a problem. We know that Northwest Ohio is a special place, and we're so blessed to be a part of educating kids here and working with families here, especially in Salina. So, Ben, do you want to give us a little background on yourself, where you live, and kind of what you're doing?
I'm from the very center of Minnesota. I grew up in rural country, kind of similar to this countryside here that I drove through to come up here from Dayton yesterday. My background is actually 15 years-ish in the criminal justice field. Many years spent working the road as an officer, and I've been speaking for a number of years on something that's super important to me, and that is positive relationships. There was a time in my life where I just realized that I wanted to recognize school districts and school educators and students for the amazing things they do and to help them be even better, and that is sharing a message that I call Ripple and delivering it to educators only to help their year be even more amazing than it was already going to be.
It sounds like you really like being around people. Your work as a police officer, now your work where you're traveling across the country to see different schools. Can you share a little bit more about your message today that you gave to the staff and kind of define Ripple for us?
Yeah, so Ripple stands for Relational Impactful Preventative Leadership. And it's all about what I've identified as the number one thing we can do to help prevent against the bad stuff from happening in our schools. And that is putting positive relationships first. I share lots of stories of my life and different messages that have inspired me, messages that have empowered me, but it all goes back to understanding relationships. I talk about how we all go through problems like depression. We go through problems in life that are difficult to talk about, like our mental health and being stressed out and anxious. And I talk about alcohol and tobacco and drugs. I talk about difficult things like if we're not included, maybe, and we're a young student, or difficult things like where we experience trauma in our life and how that affects us. And I try to do it in a way that gives everybody hope that we're on this team together. And I like to share how our schools are the most stable place in the community. They're filled with positive, trusted, caring, connected adults that want to build lasting positive relationships with kids. And then the other neat thing about it is today I was invited in for your opening keynote message to give a positive message filled with hope and inspiration and share the introduction to Ripple. And I'm hoping to come back at some point in time and have an opportunity to speak with your students where I do a very fun, live, entertaining, message-filled assembly in the gymnasium with kids to also reaffirm what your teachers are sharing about positive relationships, rules and expectation, respect, but also challenge the kids in a way that they can step up and be champions for each other. That's a little bit about what I want to accomplish with Ripple.
Yeah, it's great to have speakers like Ben come into our district and just continue to share, some great positivity, some great messages, and to really challenge our staff. Yeah. Part of our mission is challenge, empower, and prepare, and that's definitely a lot of what we're working on here. Yeah. Part of our areas that we're looking to help grow our staff and students is positive relationships. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Maybe share an example of a positive relationship that you have in your life that's really helped you?
Yeah, so much about the messages that I speak about is talking about my football coach, Jim Sutherland, who, when I was in school, absolutely changed my life. He was the adult in my life that stepped up when I needed it most. He challenged me. He certainly was strict in the classroom, but he also went out of his way to tell me that he believed in me, cared for me, and was always rooting for me. And when I learned that, when I truly learned that, I knew he had me. And I knew that I never wanted to disappoint him. So I believe that we all deserve to have that kind of connection. And we know that we have several adults. Every adult in this building, how many is there? 200 staff members, has that opportunity. And now we want our community members, our families to know, people throughout the area, to know at this school, we put positive relationships first. And we want to make sure that we're building and fostering those good connections with students, so they know that life has challenges, has ups and downs, but we're here not only for their time in school, but to empower them and encourage them for the rest of their life to do amazing, positive things.
And you really challenged our teachers this morning, with your presentation. Can you share a little bit about some of the challenges that you challenged our teachers to do on the first day of school?
Yeah, so Vaughn didn't know that I was going to bring this message up. Certainly, Dr. Ken, your superintendent, didn't know, but one of the messages that I challenge educators to do on day one is to not necessarily talk about their syllabus. Instead, get to know the students. Every student they have, get to know them inside and out. Spend day one building relationships. And once you do that, really going through your expectations, going through how you want it to be a successful, fantastic year, getting the students to understand that there's going to be some difficult days and some stressful times, but together we can all face it and do our best. So a specific challenge that I gave the staff was to really, really get to know their kids. And you have people here that do that every day and every year, but we can all take it to a new level and build and foster positive relationships. And hopefully that helps get rid of some of the junk that we don't want to happen, difficult things that we don't want to happen. We want our schools to be a positive, safe place. And we certainly want our students to know that, and we want our adults in the community to know how hard we're working at the school to build those positive relationships. And I'm so proud to be here. I had an opportunity to speak to your staff and then meet with so many wonderful, amazing educators afterward who we shared tears and smiles and hugs and high fives. And I'm super proud to meet all of you folks today. It was a day that is very rewarding for me too.
Right, there were two big things that kind of stuck out to me with that, with your message there. Just a moment ago, you keep saying the word "get." Our teachers get to do that. They don't have to, but they get that opportunity, and it's that mindset of, this is my life's work, or this is something I get a chance to get up and do. And we also know that our teachers aren't broken. We're not here to fix them or to turn them into something else. We just want them to enhance their skills or to take things to another level, to keep working with their students. So what are some things that excite you about Salina and some possible future work here?
Well, number one, everybody that I've met since I arrived in town, visiting town, eating dinner, coming to the school early, it feels like home to me. It's very similar to where I grew up, which is very just kind and positive and welcoming. So I was impressed with that. A few things educators talked to me about was, it was mentioned to me that a couple of them said they've been here for years, but it made me feel really good when they said, you know what, I can step up and do a few things better even every day also. And those educators are already rock stars, but it sure makes me feel good when they say, you know what, you inspired something in me today where I can step up and be even better. That's something that I want to do every day. I want to be better. I certainly want to, take my challenges and learn from them, and made me excited for the possibility to work more with them, for sure. I hear a lot of great things about the kids. Your educators have been full of positive messages this morning, talking about, they love their kids here, they love this community, they love the city, and I'm excited to have a possibility to come back and speak to the kids as well.
Right, and Ben, we're going to have you come back, and you're always welcome to come back and visit us. A message that we often hear are some of the great words from Ann Esselstein, former middle school principal here. Do what's expected, and then do some more. So I'm sure that our staff had those words in their mind as you were telling them to, hey, we got to keep stepping up here. We got to keep doing what's expected, and then doing some more. So I think you were able to really add to their already growing mindset.
Yeah.
So.
I'll leave you with this one thought from an educator. I won't say his name. I met him this morning. He told me he was here for 39 odd years. And I asked him, what's the most special thing here? And he just said, loves it. Loves it.
And that's a great thing to hear from the teacher. If they can sum up, their work in 2 words, they love their job, and that's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they're going to share that mindset with the people in the building, but also the kids in the room or in the gymnasium. With where they're working. So let's kind of switch gears here a little bit. We've talked about kind of our work today, but we want to share more about you and some of the things that you kind of meet in your travels. But you get a chance to go across the country. What are you seeing or noticing as you travel across the country talking with educators? What are they going through and what are they thinking?
Well, I think the last few years have been difficult for everyone. Education's always been difficult. Educators are expected to teach their lesson, and they're expected to get all their work done, but they also got to deal with troubles that students maybe bring to school. In a lot of ways, I talk about mental health and how important it is to focus on it. Our educators are mental health workers every single day. So the only thing that I see is we really need to do more to support our educators. We have to trust them, believe in them, encourage them when we can. I like to tell community members, it's so important to encourage your educators when you're out and about. When you're at the ball game and you see the teacher who you know is doing amazing things in school, who you know is a rock star already, tell them because they need to hear it.
Right.
They can get beat down and burdened too with a lot of the things we have going on. So I like that message, but I also see a shift in how we teach. And the shift that I see is I see more just empathy. I see more kindness, and I see more patience come into play. If we can increase that even more, and like patience, for example, like patience with kids, understanding, if they don't have a very good test score or something, it might be because they had a really rough night the night before. Maybe they know the material, but they just need a little bit of patience. So I see that changing in education. I see it changing since when I was in school, for sure. So if I can help that by talking about positive relationships and inspire a few educators along the way and inspire some kids to step up, then I think we're doing good.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've been hearing. There's people are really starting to embrace more mental health, more work with caring for ourselves, but also caring for each other. So it's great to see that we're working on some things, and some people across the country are working on some similar things as well.
When you talk about mental health, like we just did, like you and I understand, and we're trying to get more people to understand that we need to use the word mental health in a positive context.
Right.
It's not something negative. It shouldn't be something embarrassing or that we don't want to talk about. Like, my mental health is important. Your mental health is important. And it's positive relationships that makes that better. Even when we have challenging days where our mental health is tough. And certainly with our kids too, and our community members, and our teachers.
Right, everybody getting a chance to help everyone.
Yes.
Everybody giving everybody that opportunity to help everyone.
Yeah.
Themselves, someone, a colleague across the hall, and obviously the people in the community and the students.
Yeah. Used to be such a big stigma. If I said, I'm just having a tough day, I'm dealing with some stuff, people would maybe be embarrassed or shy to talk about it. But I want people to understand, and I think across the country we're getting better at it, I think educators certainly are, is I want Vaughn to be able to come up to me and say, hey Ben, I'm here for you. What can I help you with? Vaughn's not going to judge me.
Right.
Vaughn's just going to be there for me because he's got a positive relationship with me. And so that's something we're seeing, and it's great.
Yeah, it was a great part of our message this morning was letting our staff know that, hey, not every day is going to be perfect.
Right.
We're going to have days where we may be challenged or have to work through some things with ourselves or with our family or something in the classroom. So it's great that we were able to give them some tools, but also give them some reassurance that you're not alone. You have people around us. 25 kids in a classroom that can help you too. We often think that adults can only help adults, but something we definitely need to kind of build in our mantra, our messages is the kids can help us just as much as we can help them.
That is so good that you say that. You spurred something in me that I want to share, and that is kids pick up on everything. Kids, our students, they know what's going on. They can see stuff, and they can spot a teacher who's having a tough day, dealing with some difficult things maybe outside of school. How awesome is it when we teach kids, they can step up for a teacher too and be like, hey, I got you. I know you're having a tough day. I'm going to help you today. And maybe they help with, a message in the classroom when we need to listen. And they turn to a buddy and they say, hey, we really need to pay attention. right now. We need to give our teacher a little bit of grace too. We can teach that at a young age.
Right.
We really can. So that's great.
Right. We mentioned you do get to travel around and talk with a lot of schools.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about being able to travel around and meet different people? You're a people person.
I love people.
What do you what do you enjoy the most?
It should be pointed out that Vaughn met me super early this morning. Admittedly, I think we're both early birds.
Yes.
And we got to meet early here. I love to go to schools and just visit with people and learn about them.
We got here before Jonathan Williams got to the school this morning.
Yeah.
That's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I like to visit, and also when I do that, I'm kind of taking a note on things that I want to talk about inside my message, because all schools are different, which is great. And so my biggest thing is I absolutely need people in my life. My bucket fills. When we talk about bucket fillers, we're talking about in education, putting positives in, filling our bucket with positives all day long. And my bucket's full right now. I get to travel home today, and my bucket's full. Meeting kind, tender-hearted teachers is something I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hit you with 5 quick questions.
Yes. Okay.
Just give us kind of, you don't have to give super long answers,
Yeah.
but if you want to stop and go further,
Sure.
You can certainly do that. So, best advice you've ever received from somebody?
Oh man, best advice. When I don't know something, don't pretend like I do,
Okay.
and just listen.
Worst advice that somebody's given to you?
Worst advice. I'm not enough.
Not enough. You're not enough.
And everybody's enough.
Right.
Everybody is so good at something. Everybody's enough.
If somebody was looking to be a guest speaker to travel around the country,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to them?
Wow. Call me and I'd help you with anything I could is what I would tell them. I would say leave everything you got with the people you're speaking to, and I hope you've seen that today. I get emotional when I talk. I talk about different stories and impact. So I would say just leave them with everything you can. Show them how sincere you want to be with your message.
Final one.
Yeah.
If you could share a project that you've been working on, maybe something that's you're working in your community, something at home, but what's a project?
Yeah, so I've done this neat thing where I like to surprise educators, where I'll have people in the community nominate educators who are absolutely being positive with kids every day and just being selfless and giving them everything they got. So then I like to surprise them and show up with a camera and surprise them in class, during class, and give them a treat and something special for their recognition when they have no idea it's coming, and tell them that there are so many people in the community that nominated them and they deserve to hear it on some days when they need a pick-me-up too. I love doing that. You can see some of that online on some of the social media that I've done in the past. During the pandemic, I tried to really step it up. We needed educators to be surprised. And we all need someone to come up to us on a day and say, hey, you're doing great things. You're doing great things. Keep it up. And recognize it.
I'm going to sneak one more question in here
Yeah.
with this quick hitting thing.
Yeah.
What's something that someone from Ohio needs to know about Minnesota?
Oh man, Minnesota's cold, but the people are. Education is a big thing back home, and it's something that we really care a lot about. And educators back home absolutely love their students and each other, and I'm proud of that. It's a very good thing. Educators are awesome.
Educators are great, and they're they're the stability.
Yeah.
They're the foundation
Yeah, they
of
are.
our community.
They are. Educators are the foundation, like you said. That's fantastic.
Right.
For the rest of our lives.
Yeah, there's somebody that's going to have an impact on us all the way from when we're growing to to when we're helping others grow.
Yeah, you heard my story about Jim Sutherland today, and years later I still talk about him. I go visit him, and he changed my life. But he was my foundation.
Right. We're hoping that all of our members of the school community have someone out there that they can rely on, or they're that person for somebody else. So keep sharing and keep doing those things that you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's switch gears here one more time here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to give you just a chance to talk about anything that you want. We asked you a bunch of questions, but is there anything that we didn't ask you that you want to share?
I was super impressed with meeting everybody today. If I could share that we can all teach what the word empathy means. and teach how it can be something that we get young students to learn at a young age. We can teach the word empathy in elementary. And what is empathy? It's a good analogy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes and understanding that we all come from different walks of life. We should never judge someone, and we should only get to know them and be there and be positive in their life and just be there to encourage them and reaffirm that we're all on the same team. I think that's something that I love to share, and I spoke about it today. Challenged your teachers to teach the word empathy at whatever level they're at.
Right.
So certainly something I'd love to share is just encourage our community to really learn and understand what the word empathy is and continue to be awesome.
Right. You mentioned teamwork. We're all on the same team.
Same team.
And as we say all the time here in Salina, together we will.
Yeah, I love that.
Let's close with a final thing that we like to
Yeah.
talk about, the Bulldog Bark,
Yeah.
where it gives you a chance to give a shout out or some praise to
Yeah.
any group, any person.
Yeah.
Go.
This message is for every person that works in the Celina School District. No matter if you're a cook, a custodian, a bus driver, school counselor, social worker, school nurse, paraprofessional, educational assistant, teacher, administrator, principal,
Curriculum director.
curriculum director, IT worker, everybody. You're amazing, and this community is better because of you. You see everything in this building, all the wonderful technology, all the new stuff you have coming in a new building down the road, the lockers, the gymnasiums, everything. It's all junk compared to the wonderful people here, the educators and the students that fill it up with warmth every day. That's what's special, and that's what's important. So reminding you all that you're amazing, you are believed in. I look up to you, and so many people do. So thank you for what you do.
Great words, Ben. Been a pleasure to have you on Bulldog Talk.
Yes.
And
Bulldog Talk, this is awesome.
We'll look forward to sharing this with the school community. So thanks a lot. Thank you for coming to Salina, and we wish you safe travels.
Thank you so much.